So, welcome to the Sip and Saga Society, everyone else who is listening, and the people here with us, where we cover histories, mysteries, and just any story worth telling. Every week, Karina, Randy, say hi, Randy,
Hi.
and occasionally Greg,
Hi, everybody.
cover a year in time while slowly traumatizing each other along the way. And you, also, our listeners. This week is our monthly Little Sips, our video episode for the month where we bring some levity to our show by talking about anything but American history. And sometimes American history. We also have some guests. Our wonderful friend Britt, who will be staying audio only for this episode. But thank you so much, Britt, for joining us this week.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to hear what y'all have prepared and share a little bit of fun along the way.
My name is Karina, and I am one of your hosts. For the month of May, our theme is sexy history. And I just started calling it sexy sips because I thought it was funny. I feel like we'll do this topic again.
It's pretty broad
Yeah.
of a topic, so
Yeah, it could go anywhere, really. We chose this topic to go
pun
along with.
intended.
No, it was not on purpose, but it also is
I'm
who I
just
am, I
imagining
think.
like theme music for that too, like bad like 70s porn, like funk music, and you're like, this is
Excellent.
sexy sips.
Excellent. Karina's gonna get to the warning for the episode soon.
Maybe. Oh, yes. So if you're, maybe I should do it now. If you are under 18, a toddler who got an iPad somehow, um, you know, maybe think twice before listening to this. And if you're a parent and you have tiny ears, maybe this isn't the episode to hear around them. I don't know. I'm not in your house, but this is your warning that this might be not safe for work, not safe for the library on loud without headphones or an airport. But you do you, and you make your choices. We are not giving any medical advice. We are not doctors. We are not telling you what to do with your life or what to not do or what to do to stop something. There's
I mean,
no,
technically I'm a doctor, but I'm not that
we're
kind of
not
doctor.
medically prescribing anything to any capacity. Oh, but also, Greg, now it's con when it's convenient, now you're a doctor.
Well, I was like those jokes though, it's like when you're on it's like they're on the plane and they're like, "Help, is there a doctor?" And you're like, "Ah, I'm not going to stand up and say anything." They're like, "We need someone to talk about like Aristotle's theory of whatever." And it's like, "Oh man, let me go."
Can I
Oh,
also just say I'm really pleased with the fact that we just did a warning label for this episode, even though we have one that's basically on cannibalism for the first half hour, and no warning label was given for that episode of Pocket Meat. Excellent.
sometimes you have to talk about pocket meat, Randy. It's just a fact of life. Yeah.
Today's just an episode on a different form of pocket meat.
Britt, thank you. I was like another pun. It's just gonna be boom, boom, dropping everywhere.
Wow. That's wild. Anyway, we chose this fun topic to go along with our book club pick of the month, the book Polysecure, Attachment, Trauma, and Consensual Non-Monogamy by Jessica Fern. I have not read it yet, but I'm very
I've heard good
excited
things
to.
about it.
I've also heard great things about it, Greg. Anywho, yes, we chose this topic to go along with our book club pick of the month, Polysecure, Attachment, Trauma, and Consensual Non-Monogamy by Jessica Fern. And we thought, why not? This is the perfect time. And also it's May, it's spring. This is the time of like rebirth and new things and growth and bunnies and such.
Literally, the chicks at the all the wow, clear words, Randy. All of the geese, like little eggs, have hatched around the lake where I work. They're so cute, the little ducklings just running around. I mean, I don't like what they turn into, but as babies, they're super, super cute.
I really like them.
They
They're
are
so
quite
cute.
cute. I look forward every year to seeing whenever they have like they're really cute and then they're so ugly they're cute where they start molting and shedding all of their fuzz to get the feathers in. And they look disgusting, but it's just like, aw, it's the cycle of life. It's puberty. It gets us all in the end.
That sounds like a threat, Britt. It'll get you in the end. If you would like to join our book club, it is available at any membership tier on sigpinsaga.online. Randy and Britt and I are all members and are there almost every month. It's great. I try to be there like every month, but you never know. Things happen, Randy.
I'm just saying it would be kind of strange to have the book club without you
It would be confused.
there.
I would be like, I probably wouldn't do it. We would just move it, really.
Yeah, honestly.
Anywho, we're all drinking something. And Brandy has already given us a little bit of like a show off of what she's drinking. I'm so excited. Randy, what are you sipping?
Okay. So tonight in my really cute cat glass, you guys can see it. The color's not coming through, but it's this beautiful lilac color, the glass is. Anyway, inside of it is something called a moonshine milkshake, cookies and cream flavored. And it's about half of that, and then I mix it halfway with a vanilla but really cinnamon flavored um protein shake. So it's half booze, half protein. And it's delicious. It's giving a little bit of like horchata vibes is kind of what I'm getting, but it's also got like White Russian in there. I'm not mad at it at all.
That sounds beautiful. Thank you.
And then I also have my water and Dr. Pepper just in case I get bored.
Okay, Britt, did you bring anything special to your first episode?
I did. So their slogan is "Made in Texas by Texans." And as a Texan, I opted for Best Made Sour Pickle Beer. It is quite yummy. Um, what are you sipping on today?
Ooh, that wait, I want to go back to the pickle beer because how pickly does it actually taste? I love
It
pickles,
Straight
so.
pickle juice. I've had that one
it
before.
it does, and it's very good. It's my favorite one that I've found so far.
Ha-
It
Have,
does go hard on the
have you
pickle.
have you had the grape flavored one?
No,
There's a grape. Best Made has a grape pickle beer too.
I
Is it actual
should.
beer though? Like
It
not
is.
cider?
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, am I gonna hurt if I drink it? So the answer is
I think
yes.
they're out of Fort Worth.
Yes, they are. It's 4.7%. But yes, it is like a true beer. Malt beverage with natural flavor is what it says on the side.
Vinegar is that flavor, and I love
Yeah.
it. So good.
It's
I'm
yes,
excited
very.
for you, Britt.
It's one of my favorites. In college, I had a couple friends show me pickleback shots where you do whiskey and then chase it with pickle juice. And I've also had pickle shots, which is usually vodka with pickle juice. And
Yes,
so
I love a pickle shot. I love a pickle shot.
it's a
You're speaking my
fantastic
language.
choice. Oh, I'm glad to find fellow pickle lovers in the area.
I'm glad that Britt brought the pickles because I wanted to bring the pickles and I didn't get to go to the store. And I just felt like that was so needed for this episode specifically. It's the perfect beverage. I don't know. Anyway,
What are you sipping on today,
so
Karina?
I'm drinking a on the rocks Cosmopolitan because this is what they had at Walgreens.
I like that company though.
I do too. And also, I felt like the Cosmo is the Sex in the City beverage. And it
Clarity
makes
of
sense.
language.
Yeah.
It's
It's hard for some of us, Randy.
Me too. You heard me struggling with it.
Every day is another struggle. And every time I edit these, I'm like, just speak clearly. Just try harder.
Solidarity. Solidarity. There are times where I'll hear something you didn't edit out and I'll be like, oh, I could have sounded smarter there.
It is wild. You really have to come to terms with who you are as a person and how you speak when you have to listen to yourself talk over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes. One of my roommates in college was a speech pathologist, and her favorite thing to say is words are hard. So let that bless you throughout the rest of your life. You are forgiven because words are really freaking hard.
They really are. Um, but Britt, I have a question. How many facts do you have for us today?
Oh, wait.
Um,
Oh, wait.
yes, Greg.
Greg, what, Randy?
Huh?
Wait, did
Oh,
Greg
sorry,
say what he
Greg.
was sipping?
What?
You're
Oh,
right,
I
Greg.
yeah.
I forgot.
I
No,
was
you're
like,
fine. I
Greg
feel
has
it.
the best
Yeah.
cans, and I feel like I
So
haven't seen any artwork yet.
the caked up
Oh,
is
it's the cake
making another
can. It's the
appearance,
cake can.
but it's just water in here. And I did not have a chance. So I think I did I tell y'all I survived a tornado this last weekend.
Oh, yes, Greg.
Yeah. So I
My
hadn't been to
God.
the store, so all I have is the snake party again. But I mean, it's still a good one. And snakes tend to, whenever they have sex, it's like an orgy. So, you know,
Yes.
like it fits. It works thematically with what we're doing.
There's always a story. We're always learning something here.
The amount of facts that I now know from doing the research. I almost sent some over to you, Britt, because Karina said that you might be doing like facts. Well, she just
Mhm.
introduced that. So there was stuff that I was finding, like, I don't know. Did you find anything about Cleopatra being the first one to use a vibrator?
I did not. I've seen that before, though. It's the bees, right?
Yes, she trapped. Apparently, they say that they trapped bees in a gourd before inserting them into Cleopatra's vagina. So
They put the gourd in there.
they put the gourd in Cleopatra and they put the bees in the gourd.
Is it terrible for me to say she may be the original size queen?
I mean, Cleopatra just had a lot of things happening to her in her lifetime.
Including
Absolutely.
bees in a gourd in her.
hmm hmm
No. Well, people will do what they need to.
Really.
Truly.
Um,
Well, Greg, we're glad that you're here too after the tornado. My God.
Yeah, I'm very glad I'm here too.
Yeah, you sent us the pictures and I was like, the wind does not play sometimes.
It does not. And it
Mm-mm.
was like like, I don't know, probably like maybe 300 meters or so, like between 300 and like 1200 meters probably from where we were. So it's the
Wait,
closest I've
Wow.
been.
like you literally 300 meters
Yeah,
from
so
you?
like a couple properties down from like where my dad and I were parked because we had to park our cars to like try to protect them from the hail. Like
hmm
three properties down. Now, granted, this is in the country, so they're larger. So I'm trying to guesstimate here. It started taking out houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
that's wild. I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, it was not fun, and we were like, oh shit, maybe that was a tornado, and then like the next day it's like, oh, like this is gonna be like a months long cleanup, like the Little Rock one.
Oh, yeah, that's
That
true.
was like
Greg,
years.
maybe it's a tornado. It was.
Yeah.
Now that we have all been properly hydrated,
We're settled. We're
we're
settled.
settled down. Britt, how many facts did you bring us?
So I have kind of an array. I have some one-off, like short facts. I have a couple of like really, really short story facts. And then I have one as a scientist. I had to go really nerdy. So I have one that's like a couple of facts all stacked together that's very science heavy. So what would you like to start with?
Let's do a cluster of one short facts.
Mhm.
It'll be great. I don't know if I'm ready for all of this though. Good luck,
I'm so
everyone.
excited. Yes.
Okay,
Uh,
go.
Okay, a couple of short facts that I learned in my time doing a little bit of research. This one I thought was very interesting and very pertinent to men's health. Ejaculating more than 21 times per month decreases your risk for prostate cancer.
Gotta
I
clear
learned
those
this
tubes
too.
out.
Hmm. If they stay in
Truly.
there too
Safe
long, they get
guys.
deformed. Yeah.
So, I also, there was one fact that I saw. I didn't fact check this one, so this one might be a little bit off. It said that the average male in 2 weeks produces enough sperm to impregnate every fertile woman on the planet, every fertile female on the planet. In 2 weeks.
How do you measure that?
I think it's, what is it? I think males produce around 1,500 sperm per second, is what the average is. So, if they are not released for reducing your risk of prostate cancer, they get reabsorbed by the body, actually.
They
A little
get
bit
taken
weird.
back.
We
Mm.
cannibalize
Uh,
them.
Truly. Um, what else did I find? 160 million Americans own a sex toy, with over 56 million owning more than five sex toys.
Brandy, I saw your face when when I was thinking, how many people are counting how
I
many
was,
sex toys
I
they own
was,
right now? And I looked up and you were
oh
like,
my God. I was like, am I average here?
With that knowledge, sex toy materials are not federally regulated, so please make sure you're buying from a reputable seller. So, it's very
smells weird, don't
scary.
put it in your body.
That's
Yes,
quality advice.
yes,
Well, it's wild to
absolutely.
me that you can buy those at like Walmart. So, like, it's not like you have to go far to find them.
Uh,
Or
there's
Walgreens too. You can buy
Hmm
your on the rocks and your vibrator.
You
make sure
can
you're
set
having a
up a
great
whole night.
time. Yeah. Oh,
Have it all at Walgreens.
they really do.
Hmm.
What else did I find? This one blew my mind. Approximately 0.3% of females orgasm during vaginal birth.
I've heard that before.
I mean, there's a lot going on down there.
There is a lot going on. I
Mhm.
feel like we always talk about pooping during birth, but this is one that I feel like I never really heard spoken about.
Oh, I've heard
Um,
that. It's like, I feel like it's really big in the hippie community. I feel like a lot of the hippie people are like, if you're really in tune with your body, you too can have an orgasmic birth. And you're like,
I've seen
mm-hmm.
that in videos about water births, you
Yeah,
know,
it's like huge.
like definitely tracks.
Interesting. Y'all are
Hmm.
informing me now. The
We
last,
know a lot.
y'all do. It's so nice to be here with you guys. The last fun short fact that I found was that when Victor Hugo, the author of Les Mis, died, some Parisian brothels shut down for a day of mourning in his honor.
That's very beautiful.
That is
Nice.
very beautiful. So, but those are a couple of short fun facts. So,
Thank you. I love those. Those are good. Yay. Randy, what do you have
Yes.
for us today? What is your sexy sip contribution?
Okay. So, I love that the way you phrase that. Thank you. It is going to be sexy history, traditions, and culture around the world. So, Karina kind of like put me up front because I'm not talking specifically about one thing. I'm just going to tell you a bunch of things about a bunch of different historical groups of people, okay? So we're gonna start. Somebody give me a continent. Greg, where would we like
Uh,
to start
let's
tonight?
do Asia.
Ooh, that's my biggest section, so wonderful.
All right.
Okay, starting in Asia, let's go to India. Okay, a fun one. We're going to start with a fun one. Oh, I'm glad. So we're going to start religious and we're going to talk about the balls. Now, I didn't make
That's
that.
where we're starting, Randy. We're gonna start with the
I
ball.
didn't make that happen. So sorry about that. It's spelled completely differently, but that's what it is. They're a wandering musical community and religious sect that moved through India and Bangladesh. Now, their contribution to tonight's story is around a girl getting her first period and how they celebrated that. So they would mix the girl's menstrual blood with camphor, milk, and sugar. And then the girl's family and friends would drink the mixture. Yeah. You guys need to see Karina's face because she's straight up doing a memeable moment. They drank this mixture, and the Balls believed that spiritual completion involves the four moons. So there are four moons: menstrual blood, seed, urine, and feces. Women are considered to contain all of these, but men are lacking the blood moon, so they must ingest it. That's like the reason why the men specifically are participating in this ritual. Um, or their other option to get their blood moon on is to absorb it through their penis during sex. Now, this is a ritualized sex act then, so the man would not be able to ejaculate, but the women would be encouraged to orgasm in order to energize their partner. Also,
Right on. Right on
yeah,
for that
I
one.
love it. I'm not gonna lie. The lack of taboo around menstrual blood in that community, I really love. Now, am I drinking it? No. But the rest of it, good for them.
A healthy respect is good. I don't know if I want to drink it either, though. I'm not going to drink it. But also, like, if that is what you want to do,
I just
and I
don't,
like the ritual of it, like, that's beautiful.
yeah, my kink is just not bodily fluids. You know what I mean? Like if
I
it's coming
fully,
out of someone, it's not
That's very
like,
it's
niche.
not going into me. I'm not doing
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
at least not in a way that I can taste it. So So, also in India are the Muriya tribe. So, they celebrate something called Gotul, which is a festival where local teens are taught about art and culture and sex. And then, once the nighttime comes, the girls drink a natural liquor that they believed prevented pregnancy. And then they would head off for the night to mixed gender dormitory style situations. And there they were encouraged to engage in sexual activities with as many partners as they wished. Although, depending on like the group of people that were doing it, because this was very like localized by community. Some would pair the teens up into monogamous relationships, and then some groups were like on the polar opposite side of that. And they would say, you can't form any attachments. So the teens would then get in trouble if they would see each other for more than 3 nights. There was kind of an extreme in terms of how they practiced that. But they were a very sex forward community that really wanted people to have the enjoyment of sexual intercourse as soon as possible, I guess. Okay, that's India. Let's go to
Good for them.
Cambodia. What?
I said good for them. I mean, they're not like freaked out about it.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna get a lot of that in these stories. I tried to keep this is because this is a Little Sips episode. I tried to keep it only interesting and only sex positive. So that's what we're getting tonight.
Thank you, Randy. What a
You're,
gift.
you're welcome. Hence my 17% drink here. We're gonna have a good time. So now we're going to Cambodia. So in the northeastern area of Cambodia are the Krueng people. And similar to the group that we're going to talk about later that's in Papua New Guinea, the Krueng build huts for premarital relations. Okay, and premarital is really subjective here. That's a colonial term, but that's how this is described. Um, so the family would build their daughter a hut to experiment with any boy that she fancied. Boys in that community have a very strict upbringing in regards to consent and respect for the women of the community. So rape is pretty much unheard of in that community. However, once the women and the men do settle down, divorce is forbidden. Due to that, the women are encouraged to explore as much as they wish with as many as they wish, even at the same time. They can pretty much do whatever they want leading up to marriage, but public displays of affection are not permitted. So, outside of the hut until they're engaged, they can't really be engaging in anything in the daytime.
So they can do it whatever they want in their in the hut.
Yes.
Do what you want in the hut.
Yes. With who you want, however you want to do it. Just
Don't
don't
let us
bring it
see you
out.
do nothing.
Yes.
We don't want to see anything.
We don't want to know about it until we have to call him brother.
I think that's valid, honestly. I think that's do what you want. How do you know until you try?
Honestly, if divorce is forbidden, you kind of want to know before you're settling down. So I respect that. I
Well,
also really appreciate
go ahead.
the. I was gonna say I really appreciate that like this has helped reduce and almost eradicate rape. That's fantastic.
I really did love that fact about this Also, guys, just so you know, most of what I'm telling you about tonight is actual history. So these are like outside of a couple, they're not practiced anymore in these groups of people. These are pre-colonization times. But yes, I completely agree, Britt. It's great. What a great example.
I would
Oh, but
love to
truly.
see us return to that mindset.
Staying in Asia, we're going to move on to China. So in China, there were things that were referred to as women villages. They were matriarchal in nature, and those villages would encourage the sexual freedom throughout the culture, okay? So the women of the Mosuo tribe, as an example, they didn't marry and they were able to take as many lovers as they liked. Um, they really were extremely, extremely women-led and not into attachment at all. So much so that the language doesn't even have words for father or husband, because everything can only be traced through the matriarchy, the matrilineal line. This is a community that dates back to 750 BC, and the tribe's homeland was known as Nu Kuo, or the realm of women. So, when a woman comes of age, she is given her own dormitory area where her lovers may come and visit her in an arrangement known as a walking marriage. And this could last from one night to something more long term. And these women villages are still here in some way, shape, or form, which I think is really cool.
Well, I was
Okay.
gonna say, Randy, I appreciate that your stuff seems to be lining up a lot with the book of the month about Polysecure, especially this last one about the women having dormitories and their lovers coming in and out instead. So,
Well, I found it really interesting when I was doing this research that so many indigenous communities had that. You know what I mean? Like that was a lot of what communities around the world were doing.
And then the colonizers saw it and they were like,
Yeah.
Literally, all of
happy
them said
women?
Christianity came in and then brought shame, and it was really hard for the people to reconcile that. Like over and over again, that's what I was reading.
well,
Surprise, surprise.
not even just shame, but like ownership of women.
Yes. Yep.
But I
Uh,
digress.
Okay, I said I was going to stay positive, so that's what's happening. We're going we're going to
I
the
said
Himalayas.
we're
We're
staying
going,
positive.
we're going to Nepal. So this little factoid has more to do with Himalayan terrain dictating cultural practices than really anything else. But as a part of their traditions, when a son gets married, the Himalayan family gifts him a portion of the land. So they chop off a segment of their land to give to the son. This is a mountain range that we're talking about, right? The Himalayas. So there's not a lot of space to jostle about. It's not like you can climb up into the mountain. It doesn't get better for you. So poor families weren't always able to divide their land. And so they would encourage something called fraternal polyandry. Basically, the family would go out and find one wife for all of the sons that they had. However many they had, they would find one wife. And then all of the sons and the wife would continue to live together in the home, and they would keep the estate intact that way.
I'm
It's
trying to
the
find
OG
a
reverse
flaw.
harem.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a flaw in the plan, and I
It honestly, it didn't sound awful. It didn't, like, depending on what group of brothers you got, it could be kind of fun.
You're not wrong, Randy.
I'm just it apparently this one is it's mostly died out, but in some rural agriculture communities it is still happening. So
I feel like it makes the most sense. Like, you already have the house. You just need another girl.
Karina, I also love though that it wasn't like let's stop doing the tradition. It was how do we keep the tradition
Alive.
in a way that
Hmm.
allows us all to be happy?
Hmm. I mean, how many women are there really? In Nepal? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I have
I
no idea.
That's so bad. It's so
Hmm.
bad. I love them on the Asia 100. Okay.
Oh,
Watch
yeah.
that.
True.
Okay, so that was my Asia. Britt, I'll let you pick the next continent.
Let's go to Africa.
Ooh, okay. I only have one for Africa. This was mostly because I got way too much information for some of the other continents, and I was like, we're gonna go too long. So my apologies to the people of Africa who were, or the people who were really hoping to hear about African sex practices. We are going to talk about, though, the Wadabi tribe of Niger. So every year they hold a festival known as Garawal. And the tribe's three most beautiful women. So this is really a subjective situation, but most often they end up being the daughters of the men who won in previous years. So they're ju won the competition that the women are now judging. And the women judge the tribe's men as they perform a dance known as the yake. This is a high stakes contest, okay? So this contest determines the men's status as sex gods within the community. So if they don't do a good enough dance, their prowess and their
It's like a
sexual
low tier
currency,
god.
yeah, their
Yeah.
sexual currency is nothing in the community, okay?
Randy, not your status as the sex god. I
It
mean,
I just imagine how much pressure it is that you, if you're like not feeling well on one day and you're like, I can't dance like this, but literally your whole year of relationships and dating prospects and everything is dictated by how well you do in this competition. Tough. That is tough. Anyway, so if a man does win the yake, he gets to pick whatever woman he wants out of the tribe to marry. And I do mean whatever woman, because during this time, women can be stolen. And I'm air quoting here, people, because stolen is basically her leaving her husband because she thinks another man danced really well in the yake, and she would rather be with him than with her current husband. And so she is stolen by the sexual prowess of the man's dance.
So the men go where the women want them to.
Basically, yes.
Because it's like when she's done with you and your dance is not danced well enough, you gotta go.
Yeah,
The best dancer is in my bed.
my literal next yes, exactly the best answer. My literal next line is women tend to have high amounts of sexual freedom and power in the tribe, as they are allowed to do this, and they're also allowed to have multiple husbands. So if they don't want to leave their husband, they can just go and take another husband. I love it. This tribe's really doing a lot.
You can just go get a new one, Randy. If this one doesn't work for you,
Hmm.
The
get a
original
fresh
why
one.
choose.
Maybe you only want him one day of the week. You could go find someone else for the other six.
That sounds like so much work.
That does sound like a lot of work.
How many? I'm thinking back to that brother story. How many brothers are there really? Because like, how many can you
Well, okay.
handle?
You know what is so funny is when we were talking about that, my mind immediately went to, well, I guess when I was doing the research, this is when I was thinking about it, but have you ever seen that old school movie, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers?
No.
I love that movie. It's absolutely amazing. But that was what I was picturing, this one tiny woman on the frontier being hauled away by these seven brothers. And I was like, if it were those seven brothers, mm-hmm.
Okay, but why do I want to find the movie now? I'm curious. What does
They're
this mean?
wonderful. They're wonderful. Okay, Karina, it's your turn. What's the next continent?
Australia.
Australia. Okay. So in Australia, we're going to talk first about the Cook Islands, right outside of New Zealand. So oh, I'm going to butcher this. The Mangaya people of the Cook Islands, um, and the indigenous people in general in on the Cook Islands are known to anthropologists as having a very sex positive culture. This culture extended into the preparation of adulthood for kids, and it took the form of sex mentors specifically for the boys. So when the boys reached 13, they would be taken out of the village by an older adult male where they would teach them for a few weeks about sexual relationships and pleasing their partner. So this tribe was really, really focused on the women's pleasure. So that is predominantly what these older men were teaching the younger boys. So they were out there teaching them specific positions. They were teaching them like tantric sex practices, like how to achieve multiple orgasms through positioning and foreplay. That is predominantly what they were focused on in that time. Um, the research suggests that the women did not perform any of those same rituals, so they weren't like learning back home how to give a great BJ. Um, but they were encouraged to explore the sexuality through multiple partners prior to marriage. So this group was just really focused on multiple orgasms for their women, basically.
I love that.
Yeah, good for them. Good for them. Okay, so this one that I'm
Wait, I
doing,
have a comment on this one. Sorry, I was chewing a cookie. Um, and you know what I'm very curious about as a person who's done a lot of research on like different beliefs. I think I'm curious to know what they thought about when it came to orgasm and creating children and like making like why? I'm not saying like I think that women shouldn't, but like what beliefs did they have that gave them a different attitude towards the pleasure of women compared to the modern day like man? You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And
Uh,
I think so. I obviously that wasn't the angle that I was doing this from,
Right.
but a lot of the stuff that I was reading about had to do with two different things. So it was a lot about spiritual power that was held. So like because sexual organs had the power of creation, they were like highly regarded as important aspects of some of these people's groups. But also a lot of the groups tie um did not tie sex in with having children. Like a lot of the groups that I was reading about, it was like sex was for pleasure in and of itself, and it didn't necessarily have to be for procreation at all. I mean, you had the one Papua New Guinea, which is the one that I'm about to do, they were having like young kids before puberty explore their sexuality as a part of their growth. And that's like prior to even being able to have children. So,
Right, but a lot of people or a lot of different communities didn't realize how like it makes sense because a lot of people didn't realize that you needed the sperm to make a baby. Like it took a long time for people to connect those pieces together.
yeah, I think
But
what is it like medieval times? I don't know exactly the age range. It was believed that you needed both the men and women's orgasm to achieve conception. Um, I don't think it's until we learned a lot more about fertility that association went away, but it used to be a much higher focus, um, even just a couple hundred years ago, like more widespread.
the Victorians, Karina's going to talk about them, but they did a lot. They were freaky, but they did a lot to repress that. Okay. So, like I said, we're going to Papua New Guinea. Is it Papua? Papua? I've always said it Papua New Guinea.
That's what I've always said.
Okay, is it just because we're from the South and we're saying it wrong though? I don't want to be
there's like
culturally
seven different
insensitive.
ways to pronouncing anything, Randy. But I've only ever heard it pronounced Papua New Guinea.
Okay, me too. Okay, so this one I will say really challenged me. Out of everything that I did research on, this is the one that I was like, I'm not quite sure. Am I actually still repressed? Like, that's the thoughts that I was having while I was reading through this one. Like, I double fact checked this one, and Lord knows what the government thinks of my search history right now. I'm sure I got put on some sort of list for the research that I was doing for this. And you're going to understand why. So, there's a tribe in Papua New Guinea known as the Trobrianders. Trobriand Trobrianders. Trobrianders. Okay. Amongst the islands of love, okay? And there's a lot of work that covered the cultural practices of this group. I'm saying this so that if you guys want to go and do your own research, it is by Bronislaw Malinowski. But the big takeaway surrounds the early exploration and sexual freedom within this group of people. So, this is where the children are being allowed to begin erotic activities. For this group, it was as early as 6 years old. So, girls were encouraged to begin engaging in sexual activities between 6 and 8, while boys would wait sometimes until more like 10 to 12. And it was not considered taboo in the culture at all. Um, and in fact, when they're older, and I don't mean old like older like 18, I mean older like adolescent 14-year-olds, uh, the family would then build their homes called bukumatulas, which are like basically bachelor pads that would house their unmarried child of age. So, boy or girl, they would get the house and they could continue their sexual exploration in their own space. Yeah, somebody else talk because I really don't know what else to say other than I did not care for that particular story.
You know, I just finished reading, or I've been reading the book DIY by Dr. Eric Sprankle. It's about masturbation, and it does talk about um, like kids masturbating and children's exploring their own sexuality. And as people who are like, let's be pretty frank here. This is a safe space. As people who are not pedophiles, it's hard to think about that. Like, I think a lot of us are like kid sex, like, let's not think about it. We're not talking about it.
Thank you. Yes,
Throw
as
it away.
non-pedophiles here.
As
We do not
non-pedophiles,
create
Like, what's
safe
the
spaces
appropriate
for
amount to
pedophiles.
think about before you cross that barrier?
but he says in this book, and I found this to be really insightful, is that when it is for the child's own like exploration of self, for a own understanding of self, that is one thing. But when you are encouraging a child to do things for somebody else's benefit in any capacity, that's not okay. And
It
I
Yeah.
think
is.
that's a way of looking at it. Like, but I do think that kids that are that young, personally for me, I don't think a 14-year-old should be like, I'm not gonna let my 14-year-old do that, like have their own home to go sleep around in. But like, I don't have a
I
14-year-old, so
I don't. I
save that
just.
problem.
I did struggle.
It's
I
hard.
get what you're
It's
saying.
it's weird.
I don't
Yeah.
believe in shaming a child. Like
Exactly.
that's not what I'm talking about. But like active encouragement of a 6-year-old.
See, I think
I
it's the
understood.
encouragement that's the weird part. Like, why
I
are you
understood
encouraging?
like the 12-year-old more. 12, like almost 12 I could see because in a lot of cultures that's like an adolescent turning point. Like there are rituals that go with that. Do I think scientifically that's what we should be doing? I mean, no, if the frontal lobe's not even developed until 25, our bodies are maturing much faster than our brains. Like there's a whole lot of research that still needs to like I'm sure that they can figure out safer zones, right? But I, children, you're right.
Well,
I
the other
can't. I
thing too
struggle.
is thinking, what is encouragement in this? Like, you're just saying encouragement. What does that mean? What does that look like? Does it mean giving a kid a space to be like, hey, it's okay if you do it in your room. Don't do it in the living room. Don't let other people see it. Like,
No,
don't be
it's
weird
with
about it.
each
Like, is
I
other.
feel
It
like
was
that's a
like,
normal
see, I
level
think
of
it's
like
see, that's
encouragement,
one thing. Yeah, I think being with each other is weird to me. I think like I feel like that kind of encouragement is a different thing that I don't want to think about. Like that, I can see why it's a very gray area.
What concerns me is the large age gap in which it's encouraged. Like you said, it was 6 to 8 for girls, like 10 to 12 for boys.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if
It
it's
feels
encouraged to happen
predatory.
together, yeah,
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
that's a significant difference.
Yeah, and it's very hard because it's also like that's a cultural difference between people, but also like I think children are children across cultures, and it's kind of a different.
Well, I mean, I watch FLDS documentaries and I don't think that that's appropriate either. I,
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
okay. Well, now you guys see why I'm pretty sure I'm on some list now after doing that.
Oh, I just assume we live on a list now, Randy.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure I do.
In this
I'm sure I
America?
do.
Yeah, Palantir
Okay,
has clocked you already.
Oh yeah, 100%.
we have 3 continents left. Greg, you're up again.
Antarctica.
Okay, don't be funny.
All right. I was hoping you had something for that, like about scientist fucking or something.
I'm sure it was
Oh,
there. I did not find it. That's not historical. We
Yeah,
could
that's
talk
fair.
about.
I don't have
Uh,
a I don't have a sex fact, but in Antarctica, the scientists develop like their own accent.
oh, that's cool.
It is kind of cool, isn't it? It's weird. And penguins mate for life. Woo, their sex.
There
That's
you
great.
go. Antarctica. How about South America?
Excellent. Let's
Perfect.
go to Brazil. Okay. I've got two for Brazil, obviously, big country. So this first one, I'm going to caveat by saying this is a colonial account. So just know that this was through the lens of someone who did not understand outside of Christianity or did not have a fair perspective outside of Christianity. But this goes to the Tupari natives in Western Brazil, and they engage in a behavior known as penis tucking. I bet you guys didn't see that one coming. Penis tucking. Yeah, got everything in here. So, when a boy was about 12, the tribe would prepare a feast that would take several days to celebrate the first official hiding of his penis and the fixing of the tamaram, which was a folded palm leaf that would cover his hidden penis. So basically, what would happen when the kid reaches 12 is that the whole community would perform this ritual, and then the master of ceremonies would push the boy's penis towards his scrotum into his subcutaneous fat. So, the I'm sorry, this should not be funny. The actual I'm sorry, I'm seeing Karina laugh and it's setting me off. Okay. The actual account of this is that when they would push the penis in, it would make it look like there were testicles above, like in the pubic area. It would give the man a fupa, basically, because that's where the penis is hiding. Okay? And then once the
Because
penis
that's where the penis is hiding, Randy.
apparently, once they had been tucking their penis for long enough, it stayed like the skin had and everything had like basically molded around it. So they could like dance and jump around. Not that that happened often, but they could, and the little palm leaf wouldn't even fly out because that's the other thing I didn't even tell you. The palm leaf isn't tied to anything. It is tucked into the folds of the skin and it's like kind of sharp on the edges and it
Oh.
catches and it holds a covering over the tucked penis.
Randy, I thought you just meant that they were just touching it there for a second. No, it lives there?
It lives there. It lives there for the rest of time. Because that is, that's their holy part and they don't need you to be looking at it, Karina. They only
I
take it,
wasn't.
they only push their penises out for urination and for intercourse. And they're not the only ones that did this. At least five other tribes in the area also practiced this penis tucking behavior. Now, for the women's part, they also had their own private areas, but it did not involve like the labia vulva area. It was only the internal part, so they could not open their legs to sit or stand or lie down in the presence of men because it would expose the inside of their lady bits. And that was their part that they had to keep sacred and separate from the men.
They had a built-in protection. You could just close your legs. The men were exposed. They were
I
they
mean, the
had to
women
be
were
protected.
naked outside of that. The women were naked. They didn't have even the palm leaf to cover them. They just had to
Nothing.
keep their legs closed.
Mm-hmm. I just can't.
Did you like that
So
one?
mm. I hated that story. This is one of those.
Britt,
I wish I could unlearn this.
Britt, what did
so
you say?
I'm gonna contest Karina's assertion that there's like a natural covering. Fun fact, there's about 9 different general labia shapes for females. And so some of them do include having like a longer labia minora that you can see, even just like standing. And so I wonder how that was worked out, like what all they had to do, and how unfortunate it might be to have to deal with that if that was the natural shape of your labia while trying to
Well,
practice
right, but
it.
I'm wondering if they think that the most important part is like the hole, like
Yeah, the
just
Like
the
the actual
actual
no,
canal.
yeah.
outside.
Basically, as
Yeah,
long any part that was outside was
is
fine.
like outside.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
different than like the part that gives life, I guess, is what I'm
Interesting.
assuming.
The literal canal
The
is
whole, yeah,
basically what I was getting from the writing.
that's what
Again,
Okay.
I
though,
was under the
it's
impression. Yeah,
colonial. So
this is their
Interesting.
interpretations.
Yes, I was also gonna say with that, I am finishing up my Bio 1 class right now because somehow I took biochemistry, got a full degree, and never took Bio 1 and 2. Um, Weird, right? But with that, one of the things I've been reviewing is evolution and different evolutionary practices, like bottleneck effect, where like a bunch of people die off, and so you lose a bunch of different alleles. And so I was gonna say, with this being like tribal practices, I would wonder if it was to include the labia minora, if that would be like they eschew those people, and you end up essentially accidentally like, breeding in a specific general structure, like fits the holy assertion. But
that and that is a really yeah, that's a really great thought. I have no idea. He did
yeah,
not delve that far.
no, that's just
The
like
man,
science brain in the background.
Francis, who wrote this.
Interesting. I a bunch of the stories you shared, Randy. I want to go and like see if there's a book or different books that like embellish upon them just to learn more. Some of these are very interesting.
They really are, Britt. I'll tell you, I have a whole little, when we are in book club tomorrow, I'll send them over because I have like three that I think might have some. I did have to do my own digging on some of these. Like I found them and then I had to go find actual sources for them.
Thank you for doing that. It's so cool.
I like fact checking. It's part of my nature.
Well, especially
Okay.
with some of these stories, Randy, you're like, I don't know
No,
about
I am like,
this.
is that actually true? I
Like
tried
more
to
people
for
need to ask that question just in general,
Yes.
you know?
It's media literacy at its finest.
Yeah.
I was taught that by a librarian. Shout out. I had a badass librarian and she was always like, check your sources. And she was a stickler for stuff like that. Taught me really great habits, truthfully. Okay. Also in Brazil, there is a group known as the Kayapo, and they have a very interesting take on reproduction. So they believe that conception and gestation are impacted by the mixture of semen from the father and milk from the mother. So throughout pregnancy, the man continues to contribute to the growth of his child through sexual relations with the mother. So maintaining that bodily connection throughout pregnancy is considered paramount to the father's nurture, which is great for the mom. They believe that their bodies stay connected throughout their lives. Like one of the interesting like things that they noted was that the parents, if the child was sick, the parents would eat meat because it was considered like too hard for the sick person's body to eat meat, like that it would cause them to be more ill. So the parents would eat meat in an effort to help their child because their bodies were and energies were still connected. They believed that their bodies wouldn't be severed until death. So that connection continued with their partner and with their children until the time of their death. In many other ways in this group, the equality of the sexes is apparent in the tribe's practices, where both men and women are free to take on lovers. They're free to enter into marriage with whoever they like, and they are also free to divorce each other, but only on the consent of their partner. So they had consent laws, but also the freedom to make your own choices, which is great. Love to hear it. We love to hear it. Okay, Britt, we've got two left. Who's up?
Is it North America? That's a continent.
Mhm.
I
I
mean,
was
Mhm.
gonna
how many,
say
which ones
It's
are
North
left?
America and
in
Europe.
Europe. I
Yeah.
was gonna say Europe because I know they were wild, and so let's hear it.
Actually didn't do many in Europe because I wasn't sure what Karina was going to be doing with the Victorian era. But I did one from Iran. So, an interesting sexual situation that's con was considered normal in Iran was a traditional Islamic practice known as nikah mutah, which allows for something called a temporary marriage. And it's exactly what it sounds like. This basic Sharia law loophole was used primarily so that men could take a wife while traveling through long distances, like over harsh terrain. But more modern interpretations got away with a lot more. They used this loophole um, to act as a trial marriage for a couple, and with everything that goes with it, as the trial marriage can last anywhere from 3 days to a full year. So they can have that time to figure out how they work as a couple and do everything basically in a way that allows them to reevaluate a probationary period, if you will, of marriage.
I don't
That's
feel like that's a
smart.
bad idea. Yeah. Figure out if you like each other. Will this work? Because sometimes you don't know things until you're like in it and then you learn
You
things.
you know the saddest part is what I love about this is the time limit. Because after a year you either know or you don't. Like your time's up.
Exactly. And if within a year you're like, I could be without this, then you know. Hmm.
Okay. The other one that happened in Europe happened in Austria. So, in rural areas of Austria, young women would perform a traditional dance after placing sliced apples into their armpits. So they would dance and sweat. Like we would be talking dancing for at least 30, 40 minutes, getting those apples good and sweaty. And then the
Randy,
woman would
stop describing the apples. They were moist. Ooh.
and then the women would go out to the men that they fancy and they would offer him the apple out of her armpit. And if he took the apple and consumed it, it meant both that he liked her and that he was open to sexual exploration with her. Go Austria, I guess. I would not eat it. Again, bodily fluids, not for me. Mm-mm.
That's a choice.
Food play for foreplay.
Oof. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Austria must have some really good apples too, to like offset that.
I hope so. I hope they're not bland apples, Randy. Oh. All right,
Okay,
North
Karina.
America.
Yeah, I was like, we're gonna end things
It's
in
time.
Hawaii.
Oh,
So,
Hawaii.
in Hawaiian culture, the genitals were considered holy and were treated with respect and worship. It was believed that the genitals possessed mana or spiritual power, so much so that on the big island of Hawaii, I'm not sure which one that is, but it's just the biggest island, there is a cave with a rock vagina that is 20 feet in length that like Hawaiians who still practice their traditional beliefs will go and leave offerings at. I just thought that was really nice. Um, so traditionally, Hawaiians had public names for their genitalia, and royalty and commoners alike had their own mele mal, which were genital chants or songs that would describe figuratively or literally the individual's sex organs. So one example, I did pull an example for you guys. So one of the queen, and I'm going to try my best to get this right, Lili Uoka Lani en Hawaiiano Mele Mai told of Anapue. So her genitals were known as frisky. Anapua, Anna Pau is how you say that. So they're frolicking genitals that went up and down. That was her chant. So it was Anna Paue, frolicking genitals that went up and down all together. That's how you would say it. Um, so that was her chant. So typically the genitals were named in infancy and songs were written when they were young. So it was often thought that the songs were like predictive or tried to set like expectations for the child. The children of the culture were taught to look forward to sex and to appreciate the pleasure that it brought. And by the age of puberty, sexual relationships were encouraged and allowed to begin, with sex training happening through instruction, observation, direct observation, and practice. So one thing I did find really interesting, you remember, Karina, when we were talking about how that poor girl would have learned how to have sex with her ghost husband? And I was like, direct observation, because it was a tiny house. Well, the same thing here, except they called it something called public privacy, meaning one hut for everything. So the way that this is described is that one hut would house somewhere between 5 and 15 members of the family of all ages, and anyone of sexual mature age was allowed to have sex in the hut at night. So if the oldest daughter was wanting to have a partner, she would have sex in the hut with her parents there, and they would just basically act like they couldn't see it. The children would learn about sex by watching their parents and their siblings and their aunts and uncles having sex in the hut. So, again, guys, think about, the world that we're living in now comparatively. It's a lot different, culturally, structurally, for the way that we're being brought up. But that's basically it. So that's Hawaiian culture. So we have covered a little bit of all of the habitable, or at least habit. Wow, nope, this is kicking in. So I'm done with the words. Words are hard. This is
Words
the
are
end.
hard.
We're done, bitches. Go.
Very nice.
All right, Randy. I learned
Hoorah.
so much. So much.
Oh.
Okay, Britt.
All
Give
right.
us a story. More
Okay.
facts.
Yes, I think we're gonna go with a little bit of science. Is that all right with everybody?
We don't do enough science here. So, yes,
Okay.
we're all
Definitely.
very excited. We
We
do.
got.
Okay, we have been doing more science. We have been
Ooh.
doing more science, but we don't do enough, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, we should
I
do
I
more
do wish
science.
we would do more. I love science.
We will.
Again,
We are doing science experiments in the summer. So,
yes. Yes. I do my deep dive, I am considering doing a public health perspective on it because we don't talk about science enough. You're right.
Yes.
mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Give us
Okay,
more
Britt,
science.
hit it.
Yes, so today, now I'm going to talk about the clitoris. So let's get some of the science of the clitoris. And so, first off, this is wild to me. Anatomically, the clitoris is homologous with the penis. So
Mm-hmm.
we can pull up a photo, but if you actually look at the structure of the clitoris, the external portion that is usually referred to as the clit is the glans, is akin to the head of the penis, which is the glans penis. You have the bulb of vestibules that come down the sides internally and surround the vaginal canal and the urethral opening. And then on top of that, kind of like cloaking, you have the legs of the clitoris, which are made of corpus spongiosum, which is one of the two types that you see of tissue inside the penis as well. You have the corpus spongiosum and the corpus cavernosum inside the penis. Because of this, the clitoris, what is it? It is originally spurns from the genital tubercle, which forms whenever you're around 4 weeks of gestation. By the time you hit like 8 to 9 weeks, you start to see sex differentiation based off of hormone presence. If you have a Y chromosome, you start expressing certain androgens that push you into forming the penis. If you have an X chromosome, you continue on like the main straight and it forms into the clitoris. Because of these similarities, you also see that the clitoris can experience erections, which I think a lot of people don't realize. And so it becomes engorged with blood as you get aroused. It can grow anywhere from 50 to 300% in size, which is amazing. But I just thought all of that was really, really cool. And then, what is it? Another fun fact about the clitoris, your clitoris, much like your nose, continues to grow for the rest of your life. Yeah. Yeah, that one got to me.
Randy and I
love
both, for people that are not
that.
audio or who are not video watching, Randy and I just both did the like gasp, literal
I am
like
I
shock,
am in full-blown
shook
shock, right?
face,
It grows.
shook.
It
Yes.
grows.
And what was even
How
wilder,
fast? How much is it growing?
so it's like continually growing. You see the largest spike in growth after menopause. I know.
Okay, actually, that does line up with what they say about your sex life getting better after you have menopause. So, because that happens all the time. Like outside of being a bit drier, I'm pretty sure it just gets better.
Well,
Yes.
like the transition seems rough, but like the other side of it.
Yes, I will say I haven't finished listening to it. The NPR, I can't remember who it is specifically, put on a Sex Week series around Valentine's Day this year. They have so many good episodes. One of them's like teens and sex. One of them was about postmenopause. One of them's about geriatrics, like after you lose a loved one, getting back into the saddle,
Hmm.
metaphorically speaking. But they talk a lot about all of this. And one of the big things they focused on with the menopause episode is that a lot of women can see a reduction with the clit, and so they actually recommend that you talk to your doctor about potentially using like a topical estrogen to help with that. So anyone interested or coming up to menopause, or who knows or cares about anyone coming up to menopause, learn about it. It's really a beautiful thing. It's a big transition in life. The last clitoral fact that I wanted to spout off because it's just so interesting. It is a myth that the clitoris has 8,000 nerve endings and twice as many nerve endings as the penis. I think we've all heard this at some point in our life. They haven't actually done a research study on it in humans. Those numbers specifically come from bovine species. I couldn't find if that was like buffalo, if that was cows. However, it's not humans, which I just thought that was really interesting because I've heard that a million times in my life. So, but we can only dream.
So many thoughts on that.
It is still quite sensitive, but no one knows exactly how many nerves just yet.
Well, we keep cutting the funding, so it's gonna be even longer before we find out.
Oh,
I will call
no,
these people
because
out.
you
They're
did you
terrible people.
see they he fired everybody on the science board.
I saw
Yeah.
that. Yeah. We're like a step away from the clit just being a liberal myth.
Greg! The clit is a liberal myth. Britt,
Yes.
thank you for your facts.
Britt.
Greg told us,
Excellent.
we know.
Excellent. I'm trying to stay positive, guys. I'm trying so hard.
Okay, but real talk, these are the only people I can talk about this with, really. So
Yeah, yeah.
we only talk about it here.